Is the sub 10,000 Bitcoin gone forever? What's up, guys? Crypto Savvy here. I hope everybody's having a fabulous Monday. We're going to take a look at the charts and see what's going on. First, we're going to take a look at Litecoin and then Bitcoin. And then we're going to take a look at that Bitcoin daily chart versus the gold weekly chart. Extremely interesting, guys. If you haven't seen it, definitely stick around to the end, and I'll show you why I believe we're going to hit 46,000 by the end of the year and the path to get there. So definitely stick around for that. Also, don't forget we have a free Discord, 100% free. I don't charge for anything. Definitely join the group. It's in the description below the video. There's also some affiliate links and some tip jars in there that really help support the channel. So check that out, guys, and let's get into the charts and see what's going on. All right, guys, as always, I want to start out by saying I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion and my view of the market only. Anybody that's doing any trading or investing in this market, I suggest you do your own due diligence and your own research, as this market is extremely volatile and risky. Also, keep in mind, it's still a speculative market. Don't put in more than you're willing to lose. And with that being said, if you're new here or you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand side of the screen. That'll get you subscribed to the channel. And then if you tick the little notification bell, that'll get you notified when I post new videos, as I do post every day and try to keep everybody updated on what's going on. And we try to stay away from the FUD and all the crazy, bearish thumbnails out there that people just clickbait and try to get you to watch. We try to keep everything real on this channel, so definitely stick around, check it out. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and smash the likes and leave your comments, guys. It really helps the channel out. I appreciate it, and we're gonna check it out. All right, looking at Litecoin on the daily, and we were looking at this as a cup and a handle. And if we take this measured move from the cup and the handle from the breakout, gets us up to the 180. That is still my target, guys. I still believe we are headed that direction. I do have some higher targets here, and we'll take a look at that. Looking at this yellow rising broadening wedge I have here, with this being the long-term support on the bottom from when we bottomed out over here, and this one being off of these wicks over here. I also have a white line here, which would be a bigger broadening wedge, and it's off of, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see, it's off of these wicks right here, which there is 4 touches, and there's 5 touches on this one, the yellow one. So they are valid trend lines. Now let's take a look at what we could be looking for. If we're to break out in this area, and we'll go into the 4-hour, and I'll show you these targets here in a minute. But if we were to break out of this area, again, these targets can change, guys. These are estimates right now, depending on where we break out of these lines, which I'm sure we're gonna at some point here. 275 if we were to break out around this area. And then I have another one if we were to ride along in this channel to reach our target of 180, and then we break from way over here. That's around 300. That is not my end of the year target for Litecoin. My Bitcoin target being 46,000 by the end of the year makes Litecoin around 600 to 1,000. A lot of people always ask me that question. That's my end of the year target for Litecoin, between 600 and 1,000, and we'll know better as time goes on. So, all right, let's look at, and obviously we have a bearish case scenario, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's look at the RSI. All right, so looking at RSI on the daily in Litecoin, we had this rising channel, which we've broken out of here back into a falling channel, and we are still in here. We tried to get back into the rising channel, and we got resistance and coming back down. Now, the question is, do we come back up and test this for resistance again and possibly break through, and then test the top of the channel and break through that? Very possible. Another thing I want to show you real quick is hidden bullish divergence, guys. If we look at this peak, or this low here, that is this low right here, and then we look at this low here, which is this low here, we have a higher low in the price action and lower low in the RSI, which is resetting the RSI. That's what I call it. If you belong to the Discord group, that's what I call it, resetting the RSI, getting ready for another push up. So that's what I believe is going on here in the daily. Again, it takes longer for the daily to play out. Let's look at the 4-hour RSI. All right, so looking at the 4-hour RSI, we had this long-term falling channel with a falling wedge, broke out of, into a falling channel, into another, and another, and another. And we are currently, this honestly in the RSI, it looks like a bull flag. Looks like we're probably going to come up to test the top of this channel and then the top of the bigger falling channel. Now let's look at that in the price action and see what we are looking at. And then we'll look at the price targets, guys, the more immediate price targets. So yeah, I do believe we're probably going to continue up from here, but remember, I do still have this low target as a possibility of touching the bottom of this channel, this being a rising channel here. Let's go into the price action. Well, let me see something. Okay. Yeah, let's go into the price action real quick and see what's going on in the more immediate. So, like I said, we could touch the bottom of this, and we're going to take a look at the bearish scenario first, guys, and that is around the 108, 109 area, and that moves up as this channel moves up. So the longer we're in here, the higher this target gets. Keep that in mind. But if we do break this 108 area, we'll say, then it's very possible we're going to come down and test the $100 range, and if that breaks, looking at the 86. Again, guys, I'm bullish here. I do not believe that we're going to see this bearish scenario, but we do have to look at it as anything can happen. This is crypto. So worst case scenario, the 80, and I'll show you the 86 too. Let's look at go back to the daily real quick. That would be lining up with the 200 EMA, and that's, you know, right around where that 86 target is. Go back into the 4-hour, and the worst case scenario would be coming back down to test the bottom of this trend line, which would be around the $60 range, guys. Again, I don't see it happening, but we have to be prepared for anything to happen. So let's go into, let's look at if we were to break out. We'll look at the bullish scenario now, guys, and how I got this. I'm going to change the color of this because I have my measured moves. Okay. So from where we're at right now, if we were to continue up and not come down and test the bottom of this trend line, I have a measured move here of this whole thing as a flag pull, this being a flag, and breakout around this area would get us up to the 153 range. Now, what I see coming from there, excuse me, guys. Wow, excuse me. So what I see from here is, you know, we get up to this range. Do we get another drop? Do you get another bull flagging up to the 64? I do see the 164 range coming, which is the top of this channel. And I want to show you real quick that measured move down here matches up with, if we were to break out of this channel, gets us right around that $60 range. But again, guys, unless we were to break this area, these are of no worry, no concern. And like I said, if we get up to the 164 here and we were to break out here, my target on that's the 217, which would also be the top of this widening, broadening wedge we have here in the blue. So, whoops, sorry. Yeah, that'd be the 217 area. And again, guys, the further we move up, the further that target gets up, right? And that one plays right along with that top longer trend line, that the big white one from the wicks I showed you. Now, what if we were to come all the way up, like I said, crawl in here to get up to the 180 range and take a look at what that would get us? That would get us to the 235 range, which would also line up with the top of that white trend line in a bigger rising, broadening wedge. So again, guys, I'm still bullish here. Unless we were to break out of this channel, I don't see any concern for these lower lows. Like I said, be careful who you watch on YouTube. A lot of these guys are just following each other. One guy gets bearish, then they all get bearish, and they start calling out stupid numbers like 8,700. And if you notice today, they're moving up to 10,000. I've been saying for quite some time now. I don't see sub 10,000. I believe your ass out if you're expecting a Bitcoin under 10,000. You had your chance. I think you missed the boat. So that is my opinion, guys. Keep that in mind. And also, my quick rant about these guys that charge you for their courses. Don't get ripped off, guys. It's a bunch of bullshit. Their courses are nothing but teaching you the basics. They're charging crazy amounts of money for them. It's not going to make you a great trader. The only way to get good at trading is to actually start trading after you learn the basics, which you can find for free all over the internet. A lot of help in my Discord if you want to go in there and check that out. It's totally free. Yeah, just don't get conned by these guys and help support their drug habits, gambling habits, and lavish lifestyles while you struggle trying to learn crypto. Don't stay away from them, guys. Absolute poison. Just like watching these guys that constantly FUD every time there's a little move. Then they're, you know, if we get a move up, they'll be saying $1 million Bitcoin. If we get a 10% move down, they're calling for $5,000 Bitcoin. That's gonna get you wrecked, guys. Get rid of the noise and the poison. So, all right. So looking at this as a rising wedge, we had this yellow rising wedge, which we had a move of measured move of 96. We broke out. We got in this rising channel. We did have a target on this channel of 13.6. We got up to 13.8, but anybody that was paying attention, we knew our target was 13.6 to get out. And right now I have some longs in, and my stops are at 10,100, and I'll show you why here in a minute. But we're gonna look at a measured move. If we were to break out up above this now, the measured move is around the 24,500 range, somewhere in that area, depending again on where we break out. If we break this line, that'll move up obviously more and more. Another way to look at where we're at is I have a measured move of 19.5 here, and that's if we were to break out, and that's just the measured move of the top of this and the bottom of this as a rising channel. Again, that one will move up as we go along, depending on where we break out. And that's why I do daily updates, keep everybody updated and see what's going on. We're going to take a look at the RSI now. Take a look at the daily RSI. We had this rising channel here, which we fell out of, popped back in, came back out of, and now we're resting on the top of this falling channel here. As you can see, we're getting support on that. Do we continue up from here, or it's a possibility? Let me go into the price action, and we're going to look for divergence in the daily on Bitcoin. So if you guys are following along, you know, we look for hidden bullish divergence, divergence, and all that good stuff. We had divergence here, which is we had our high here, and then a higher high here, but a lower high here, which obviously is our correction down here. Now, I want to show you what we see a lot of times. When the RSI resets, that means price usually will stay sideways while the RSI goes down. And we had that happen right in here. If you look, we had a lower low, higher low in the price, lower low in the RSI, lower low in the RSI right here. So we had hidden bullish divergence, guys. The price was going up while it was following this trend line going down. Most likely, we're probably going to see that again here, where this follows this down, and in the price, we follow this trend line up. That will create hidden bullish divergence and give us room for another push up. So let's go into the 4-hour now, RSI. Same thing here, guys. We can see where if we look at this area here, we had our lows, which is right here, and then we had lower lows over here, had higher lows over here, lower lows here, higher lows here, hidden bullish divergence. Well, this is still a super strong trend, guys. Don't forget to stick around to the end, because I'm going to show you more proof that I believe we're going to continue up. Anyways, yeah, that's where we're at now. We're getting support on this bottom trend line here. And if we zoom into the 4-hour RSI down here, if you look at that, it looks like an inverse head and shoulders forming. If that does form, we're headed up back up into this area, which in the price action will probably get us around the $12,000 range again. Excuse me. And another thing I wanted to point out is if you look here, this trend line I have drawn off these wicks, we had a little bear trap here, fell through, and looks like this is holding. If it doesn't hold, remember guys, we still have this target at 10.5. Still believe that's very possible, and we'll look at that also in the Bitcoin daily versus gold weekly chart. You don't want to miss it, guys. It's amazing. Anyway, so if this area was to break, which is highly unlikely, we could be looking, because people are going to have their stops here from their longs, right under this wick. So could they could wick it down to 10,200 to eat people's stops and then shoot it back up. I do have my stops at 10.1, so just in case that happens. But like I said, I don't believe we're going to get below the 10.5 here, guys. And if we were to break this, our next stop would be around the 9,700 range, which would be the 200 EMA on the 4-hour. And if that was to break, then we would be looking at the $91 range, somewhere in there, maybe even 87. But like I said, guys, don't get all paranoid. We're just looking at what would be possible if we broke, but I'm pretty confident. I'm very confident that this will hold. And then absolute worst case scenario, we come down and test the top of this, which is around the 7,900 range, would be testing the top of that rising broadening wedge right here. But guys, I don't see that happening. I'm very bullish here. I do think, we may see some sideways action for a couple days. And I've talked about it before. If you look at these trend lines here, and then, like I said, this trend line here, we could end up being in here in this range for a while, bouncing around in here, creating a giant bull flag and having a huge move up, which we already looked at our possibilities for the break of these. So those will remain the same. I do have some measured moves in here for the upside in the more immediate time frame, and that being measuring this as a bull flag, or a flagpole, this being a bull flag, 13.3 area. But again, like I said, if we look in the RSI, yeah, this is interesting. We could come back up to touch the top of this wedge, which would get us up to, right around the 12,000 again. And if we break that, then we're headed to the 13.3. So anyways, I do see us going up from here. I have another target of 14.4, which would be the top of this trend line. And yeah, that's the top of that trend line. Let's get into the Bitcoin daily chart versus the gold weekly chart. For those of you that haven't seen it, I believe that a pattern is a pattern. No matter what time frame or whatever you're in, a pattern is a pattern. We're going to take a look at this real close and keep an eye on this blue line here, which is around our 24,000, 24,500 range. That is also our target, our two targets over in this area. Keep these in mind, guys. Let's go back over to here. This is my end of the year target for Bitcoin. I'm going to show you why in a second. 46 to 47,000. Keep an eye on this arrow where we're at, and this trend line, which was old support from the bear market and became resistance. We broke through. Now it's support again. I think this is going to be a very strong support. That's why I don't believe we're going to ever see a sub $10,000 Bitcoin again. And when I say ever, I mean ever. And let's look at gold. Now keep an eye on the yellow lines, guys. End of the year target. And this is obviously the Bitcoin bull run with the bear market capitulation and coming up from there. Look at the gold. Same thing. I also drew the old support, and we never broke this line again. I'm going to click back and forth so you guys can see it. And what it looks like by this chart, obviously we come up to this blue line in gold, and we get resistance. And come back down, and we get just past this, which we'll look at that too. Yeah, we'll take a look at that in a second. But I'm going to measure these corrections too. And it just makes a lot of sense, guys. It plays along beautifully. So as you can see, that's why I have the 46,000. And that could be very conservative, guys. We could go much higher. This is just by this data here that I've been watching since January. We've been watching this since January. If you see anywhere else, they're just copying. So another thing I want to look at is look at how Bitcoin bottomed out. 2 touches on the bottom trend line before the parabolic move up. 2 touches on the bottom trend line before the parabolic move up. Everybody's waiting for this huge correction. Not happening until we get up in this area, I believe, guys, which will surpass the old all-time high and then drop back down. It'll look like a capitulation again, scaring the hell out of people, and then boom. So there's where probably our biggest correction is going to come, in that area, if this plays out, guys. If this plays out like I'm looking at it. Let's go in and take a look at this gold. Let's measure this correction here. All right, so if we zoom in, measure this correction. Where's my tool? Right here. We'll measure it from this top wick down to the bottom wick. 25%. Let's go over to gold, or Bitcoin, I'm sorry. Digital gold. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to measure that. I'm going to click this over to the 4 hour just to get a better view. And you'll see why here in a minute. All right, so let's do a measurement of this one now. And we'll go to that top wick, down to the bottom wick. 25%. What was this? 25%. Pretty amazing, right? And look at the similarities. Let me move this over so you can see what I'm looking at. So we'll go right, where are we at in that one? About right there. All right, let's take a look at this. And there's another little measured move I want to show you too. So we take a look at where it's at. Let's go back over here a little bit more. And look at where we're at on, look at the similarities of this also, guys. It's absolutely amazing. You know, in this area here where we're at right now, I'm going to pull this over, kind of take a look at it. And then I'm going to do the same with gold. We're going to take a look at that second area. Whoops. Move this over a little bit. It's hard to prepare this, but I'm just so I can give you guys a idea. That's why I had called that 10.5, and that would be a measured move of this next, or actually from the same peak all the way down to that second low here. Remember, a higher low. That's about 22. It's actually go up a little, about 23%. All right, now let's measure that off of the Bitcoin chart. Same thing off this top wick all the way down to there. What is that? 23%. Amazing, right? So that's why I'm so confident that this trend line is going to hold here, guys. As you can see, it's holding nice, pretty well. Same thing as this trend line held. And next thing I want to show you, we're going to kind of dig into this. Sorry, this video is probably going to be a little longer than usual, but I want to dig in and show you guys this stuff. All right, so let's get that out of the way for now. And let's take the breakout down here. I'm going to put a line, let's snap a line in there, horizontal line. We're going to make it fat and white. All right, so right around here is where we broke out of this. I'm going to say right there, right? Now let's take a measured move. Get our tool out and do a measured move from, like I said, this is the breakout point right in here, guys. We're going to take a measured move off of that breakout point to this peak. And let's spread that out and look at that as a bull flag, right? From the breakout way down here. We put that up to where we broke out. And where does that lead us? Boom, almost right to our blue line, which was our first point of resistance. Now let's go over to, get rid of that now. Clean this chart up a little bit. I don't want to get it too messy. All right, now let's go over to Bitcoin and look at it in the same way. Let me get rid of that trend line there too, so I don't get confused next time I open this up. All right, so get this out of the way. Now remeasure, we just did the measured move off of the breakout from the bottom over here. So where is Bitcoin's breakout compared to that? Right here, right around the 4100 range. So if we snap a line there, just like we did over there in gold, and snap it down on the top, get over here, get our measured move, measure from this line to our peak, get as close as I can. Again, guys, just an estimate. Excuse me. Now we're going to take, let's just draw a line here looking at this as a bull flag, just like we did in gold. Move that trend line, or the bull flag. Where does that get us? Right around 21,000, guys. Not quite to that blue line, right? But that could be where we're headed. That would be breaking the all-time high. We could go higher than that. And I also could, yeah, that's definitely the breakout point right there. So yeah, that would be another good target. If we don't get to the 24, possibly that 21, and then a correction around to the 15. And let's look at that next correction there on gold. Get up to the blue line, bring it down. That'd be a 33% correction. Now let's look at, well, let's look at it here. If it was 21, and I'm going to measure it from the blue line too. What was that, 23? That would be around the 16,000 range. So definitely, you know, I'd definitely be looking for a correction after the all-time high back down to 16, if this is going to play out the way I believe it is. Now let's do a measured from down here at 23%. That would be to the 1800, from 24,000 to 1800. So as you can see, this is why I'm not bearish at all, and I'm not going along with all these other channels with their FUD. And let's see, now I'm going to draw this out and kind of just get an idea of what it may look like, right? Let's get stretch this out a little bit. We'll get it back to where it was, and we'll look at getting this out of the way, clean this up. Let me get rid of this white line too, get rid of confusion. And whoops, I got rid of my damn gold chart. Let me open it back up. Sorry, guys. All right, back into the gold chart. Get rid of this stuff. Hold on a second. I knew this was going to happen. All right. So if we get up to this point, sorry about that, guys. I apologize. I'm doing this video a little late. That was work, even though work hasn't started yet. That's how my job goes. Where was I at? Let's look at this. All right, how did this form? We went up here, came back down, tested, came up here, came down our 23%, and then continued on up to our all-time high, which in Bitcoin I believe is going to be 46,000, and then correct back down to the blue. Now what would that look like here? Something like this. Came up here, came down, now we move up here, come up, back down, up to our all-time high, and then come back down here and do like gold, and then I believe we continue up from there. Click back and forth. That's gonna look something like that, guys. So anyways, let's go into let's get rid of this stuff. Clean this up, and let's go into the RSI. Very interesting also. Show you real quick. So 2013 bull run followed by the bear run, and I drew this trend line in here. We got 2 touches of resistance before breaking through and starting the bull market. 2017 bull market followed by the bear market, 2 touches of resistance, broke through and started the bull run, which I believe we're in the parabolic bull run. Now let's look at the monthly. Again, guys, we've been watching this all since January, and that was right in here when we started watching all this stuff. 2013 bull run followed by the bear market. Each one of these arrows represent a new low in the RSI. 4 lows before the bull market. 2017 bull market followed by the bear market. 4 lows represented by the arrows before the bull market. We are definitely in a parabolic bull market, guys. I don't care what anybody says. Don't get caught up in this FUD of crazy new lows and all that crap. If you did enjoy the video, definitely consider subscribing. Click the Crypto Savvy logo above my head. Tick the notification bell to get you notified when I post new videos, as I do post every day to try to keep everybody updated. Don't forget to join the Discord. Give it a giant thumbs up. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. I'm out of here, guys. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Peace.